All right, so we're gonna move over to the NFL, and as you can see by the title, we're gonna talk about some of the most impressive wins, in our opinion, from Week One. There's a whole lot to talk about in the NFL. A lot of good stuff, a lot of bad. We're gonna start with the good, at least. For me, most impressive wins Week One: Eagles over the Packers. That one was a little bit tighter for me than I wanted. I haven't picked the Eagles in that one. And I was saying like, hey, people are going to write the Eagles off after last year, but they made some moves in the offseason. Definitely paid off in this one. Saquon, they had 3 touchdowns, about 130 yards. So good game for them. Unfortunate for Jordan Love there at the end. And now he's going to be missing at least 3 to 6 weeks. So that's definitely going to affect the Packers season a lot there. I mean, you just paid the man after the season he had, the playoff game, really.
Yeah.
So that was going to hurt. And then Pats over Bengals. I mean, we were just talking about this before the video, man. Like, it seemed like every year the Bengals on some nonsense in Week One. And look, I know T. Higgins was injured. Jamar Chase was sick. I call it contractitis, and everything. But he played. Joe Mixon is no longer there, so you had Zach Moss and Chase Brown out there running the ball. But still, you would have thought that the Bengals would have put up more of a fight. I mean, it was 10-0 at halftime. But they finally started to score later on in the game. But Patriots ran the ball really well. Ramondre Stevenson, 120 yards, a touchdown. Kobe Brissett, I mean, he did what he had to do. No touchdowns, no picks. Like, hey, he was at least somewhat solid. And look, I don't want to overreact to this game. It's just Week One, but I'm equally as disappointed in the Bengals as I am impressed by the Patriots pulling out without. Because I figured, Patriots, I know they're rebuilding, but I figured they were kind of dead in the water already to start the season, and they pull out that win.
Yeah, this game might be like the most like modern Patriots game possible. Jacoby
Yeah,
Brissett finishes the game. I mean, no picks, no touchdowns. He was just out there moving the offense. But he finishes the game with 121 passing yards. Ramondre Stevenson finished the game with 120 rushing yards. Like they just move around. Ramondre gets a touchdown, and it's just kind of out there like beating the Bengals to death. And Jacoby Brissett is staying accurate enough to keep them alive. Never ruins a drive on his own. As a matter of fact, Ramondre Stevenson himself fumbles, but there's a lot of weird stuff in this game. This one I mean, it's a 16-10 game. It's certainly an odd one. But the Patriots defense in this area has still like mostly held up. Like Patriots games, I think since Tom Brady have not been like Patriots lose 40-2. We'll get to that type of score in a little bit. But they kind of hold on. They fight. The issue is they can't usually outscore their opponent. But the Week One Bengals, one thing they don't want to do is win a game. So Patriots are able to hold their offense down a little bit, and they don't have to get entirely tired out. Ramondre Stevenson keep the pace of the game slow. Jacoby Brissett, methodical, kind of not super quick quarterback, which sometimes is what you need. I mean that just beats the Bengals down in this one. Jamar Chase on with contractitis. T Higgins hurt. Zach Moss didn't look horrible as their new lead back. It's going to be probably a downgrade from Joe Mixon, but I don't say that as like a discredit to Zach Moss. I think Joe Mixon is really good. I mean, we saw that in the Texans game this week. He did really well. Stephon Diggs did well in his Texans debut. But the Bengals just can't get it together in Week One in the Joe Burrow era, and this is a amalgamation of that. As for the Packers game, I mean that one was just maybe it's the Brazilian field.
yeah,
This was something. The Brazilian field certainly I think takes out Jordan Love's leg, which is unfortunate. But this one is full of everything. It's a 34-29 game. People are scoring. They're scoring a lot. And on top of that, they're turning it over. Saquon Barkley had 3 touchdowns. That's great. He came out and had more touchdowns in his debut as an Eagle than the Giants had all week. So Giants fans, I'm sorry. I don't really know why you guys let him go to your divisional rival. You're going to hate that twice a year. Maybe all 17 games a year with how the NFC East is. Jalen Hurts, those 2 picks and fumble twice, has a scuffle, not a scuffle, but a discussion with the new center, because obviously Jason Kelsey is a high standard to match up to. Packers have positive things in this game. Josh Jacobs fumbles, but looked pretty good as their new back. Jordan Love was really good. He's just going to miss time, which sucks. Jaden Reed had a monster game, 4 receptions for 140 yards, got a touchdown, and had a random 33-yard run for a touchdown. So that's a positive. You got to hope that when Malik Willis comes in, they connect. But I mean, this one's impressive for the Eagles to go to a foreign country, turn the ball over 4 times, allow 29 points, and still win. So I think that's big. I think that's a big one there. I'll pass it back to you in a second, but we have 2 other ones that we'll kind of go over. They're a little odd. Another impressive win, I think, for both of us this week kind of goes to the Lions, but it almost went the other direction. The Lions go up 17-3 over the Rams. We said that one would be around 30 points for each team. It finishes 26-20 because after the Lions go up 17-3, they fell asleep, and Stafford and the Rams come back, make it 20-20. However, the Lions get the ball in overtime, run it down the field. David Montgomery abuses the Rams defenders, punches it in for a touchdown. That is it for the Rams in that one. They start 0-1, Lions start 1-0. And then the Cardinals go up 17-3 on the Bills, which is like, all right, well, Bills also aren't usually that good in week 1. And then Josh Allen and his new receiving core, which people have mocked, I think, maybe rightfully so, lock in. Matt Collins, Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, they start to be pretty good producers. Bills bring it back 24-17, and the Cardinals go, oh, wait, we're in a football game. And they start having a little shootout, but the Cardinals cannot quite keep up with the Bills. They outscored them in the fourth quarter 11-10. Didn't entirely matter. 34-28 final score. Impressive for the Cardinals in this one, but not quite enough to get over the hump.
Yeah, respect, shout out to the Bills because, again, you lose Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis is gone. You're sitting there wondering, like, all right, who are they going to come back with this year to try to, at least, again, get back to the divisional round, get back to the AFC Championship game, maybe possibly avoid Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs for once. And this one started out, like you said, it's like, okay, all the criticism that people had for the Bills over the offseason might be coming to fruition, but they come back late in that one. Almost screwed up a little bit at the end, but held on. So definitely good win by the Bills. And, the Cardinals just kind of a weird team. Like, ever since Kyler got injured, I mean, he had that almost MVP type season. And then, injuries come in, and the Cardinals just kind of been meh the past couple of years. You definitely got to get Marvin Harrison Jr. involved. I mean, I know it's not always an automatic transfer, and going from college to the NFL, that dude's talented. I watched enough of him to know you got to get him involved as much as you possibly can. As for the Lions and Rams, that one was kind of frustrating to watch early in the first half. I was expecting more from both teams. To be fair to the Rams, though, they had so many injuries already on the offensive line. Had more injuries, more guys moving around. Puka Nacua got injured. So you had a lot more going on there. Of course, Aaron Donald isn't there anymore. But then, start to pick it up a little bit later on. Eventually, like you said, gets into overtime. Lions pick up that win. Once again, beating the Rams, beating Matthew Stafford, their former QB. Definitely an impressive win for them. Because, again, we might see this kind of matchup in the playoffs. So when it's kind of like the Eagles-Packers game, like, even with Jordan Love's injury, hopefully Malik Willis can, at least for the sake of Packers fans, keep that ship going for a little bit. That's a matchup you might see in the playoffs. So it's these type of games, even going back up to college. I mean, Texas and Michigan, it's these type of games that you really want to come out and make a statement in, play well, get a dub. That's what they did. All credit to them.